Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Pedro, and this is the first video that I'm actually creating for the Velvet Mastermind Club. And I've actually got two recordings going on right now. I'm recording to my timeline, and I'm also recording a video that's going to go to YouTube. So if you see me going left, if you see me going right, it doesn't mean I got ADD. It just means that I'm focusing on two cameras at the same time. So I'm very excited to be creating this first video for the Velvet Mastermind Club, and I'd like to begin by actually sharing my vision for what the club is all about. You know, I have always known that I was brought to this plane to make a profound impact in the lives of other people, in the lives of millions of people worldwide, and as a result I got the inspiration to create the Velvet Mastermind Club, which is going to be a platform that is specifically going to be geared towards empowering millions of people worldwide to achieve success in every single area of their lives, whether it's mentally, whether it's emotionally, whether it's spiritually, and as it pertains to all of their external activities. So this first video that I'm creating for the Velvet Mastermind Club is going to talk about one of the most important wins that you can create in your life, which will really position you to begin to have more successful days, more successful weeks, and as a result, more successful years. And when I'm talking about success, I'm not only talking about finances, I'm talking about success in every single area of your life. You know, as it pertains to your health, as it pertains to your fitness, as it pertains to your relationships, as it pertains to your money, literally as it pertains to every single area of your life. So let us jump into the conversation. I'm going to be titling this specific video that I'm creating here, Morning Rituals for Successful Living. This is a very important subject we're going to be exploring together. So first and foremost, I have discovered in my own life, right? I have discovered that how I actually start my day has got a very strong impact on the level of success that I'm creating in my life. And as a result, I have become very intentional about what I do over the first 3 hours of my morning. So my intention for this video is to share with you some of the rituals that I've incorporated into my life on a day-to-day basis, with the hope that you can use some of the information that I'm relaying here to really begin to design your life exactly like you want it to turn out in the future. So I'm going to divide morning success rituals in different categories. The first category that I really want to explore with you is the category of mental and emotional health. Mental and what? And emotional health, right? So when I get up in the morning, you know, when you get up in the morning, how do you actually feel, right? So when you wake up in the morning, do you feel grouchy? You know, you don't want to talk to anybody, you're in a pissy mood? Or do you wake up, you know, vibrant, vital, excited to take on the world and accomplish your goals? I'm pretty sure you're going to be somewhere in between. But what I want to do is to position you to get up in the morning, you know, at a 9 out of 10, out of 10 out of 10 in terms of mental and emotional health. So myself, what I do, you know, the first thing when I get up in the morning is, it is time that is specifically dedicated to me, which means that I don't interact with the external world. So I go and jump in the shower, and I normally take a long time in the shower. You know, I'm in the shower for about 20-30 minutes. I'm not saying that you need to be in the shower for that long, but that is a time when I just kind of, you know, think about, you know, my life, you know, just get in tune with my emotions. You know, how am I feeling on this specific morning, you know? And when I get off the shower, I'm still quiet, I'm still slow and just listening to my emotions. So this is a very, very important thing. I think that most of the challenges that you experience in your life come about because of a lack of presence, right? And what is presence? Presence is specifically just being connected to yourself. You know what I'm saying? And on a higher level, being connected to the universal intelligence. But presence is being connected to yourself. So in the morning, you know, the first 10 minutes, the first 15 minutes, the first half an hour, if you can invest that time to just gifting to yourself, that gift of presence and spending time by yourself and just listening to your heart, listening to, you know, feeling your emotions, then that is going to be a very, very good morning ritual that you can incorporate, right? So the moment I get out of the shower, the next thing that I do is I write down my goals, right? And I have a book that has got a specific goal that I want to accomplish for my business. And it's a huge goal, it's a grandiose goal. And what I do is I write with my left hand, right? I'm right-handed, but I write with my left hand. I write down my goal, right? I'm Mario Pedro Gould. I am now earning X amount of dollars as a Dash. I am helping as many people in the world with Dash. You know, I'm not going to reveal to you my affirmation, it's personal. But I write down my affirmation with my left hand, and I write it with my left hand so I can drill it into my subconscious mind. You know what I'm saying? I don't write with my right hand, I write with my left hand so I can drill it into my subconscious mind. And once I write down my affirmation, then I go to the washroom, right? The mirror. Actually, I got mirrors all over my place. I got a mirror in one bedroom, another bedroom, in the washroom, in my living room, and I go to the mirror and I speak out my affirmation. You know, I look at myself in the eyes, I feel my energy, and I speak out my affirmation. I repeat my affirmation. And the reason I'm doing this, ladies and gentlemen, is because I want to drill my mind for the dreams and hopes and aspirations that I have. You know what I'm saying? I want to program myself for success. So this is a very, very important morning ritual that you definitely want to incorporate in your life. Why is it important? It's important because there's a certain habit known as the habit of drifting, right? If you do not drill in your mind your vision, your goals, your desires, your aspirations, then what happens when you go out into the world, you're going to fall into other people's agenda, right? You're going to fall into other people's agenda. But when you go out into the world and you actually really, when you go out into the world and you want to accomplish your goals, you want to make sure that your goals are deeply ingrained in your subconscious mind, right? So the reason I repeat my affirmation in the morning, the reason I say it over and over and over again is so that I can program my mind for success, for the accomplishment of my goals. So right off the bat, I've shared with you two rituals that I do. Ritual number one is called the gift of presence. You know, when I wake up, the first few minutes, the first 15 minutes, I spend that time with myself, right? Listening to my heart, listening to my emotions, just feeling my energy. And the next thing I do, ladies and gentlemen, is I take out my notebook, I write down my goals, I write down my affirmations, I write them down with my left hand, and then I go to the mirror and I speak them out over and over and over and over again. So that is ritual number two, okay? Ritual number three is what I put into my body, right? I normally don't eat immediately, but I preferentially like to drink water and lemon water that's actually heated because I want to replenish my body from the nutrients that I've lost, you know, overnight. But when I'm actually drinking my lemon water, I'm actually using that specific time period to think about my day, right? I'm thinking about my day. I got cue cards. So I'm going to share with you some. So these are like several cue cards that I have. And in my cue cards, they're right in front of me and I'm drinking my lemon water and I'm thinking about all of the different things that I want to accomplish on this specific day, right? what is the studying that I want to do, who are the people I want to reach out to, what I want to do for my business, what is my financial goal for the month. And I'm just drinking my lemon water, and I'm actually thinking about my future. I'm thinking about where I'm going. I'm thinking about what I want to do. I'm thinking about what I want to become. I'm thinking about what I want to have, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, this is how you begin to create success rituals for your life. It's very, very, very important. And this takes me somewhere around 15 minutes, just drinking my lemon water and thinking about my future. And then the next thing I do is I normally like to move my body, right? Because when I get up, I don't know about you, but I'm like pretty tight, like all over, right? I'm tight like all over. So what I do is I do some exercises to stretch out my body. You know what I'm saying? I want to stretch out my neck, I want to stretch out my back, I want to stretch out my legs, I want to stretch out my hips. And you can call it yoga, right? Or you can just call it flexibility. And I do that for about half an hour, right? And in that period of stretching out my body, I notice something very important happens, right? I begin to feel better, right? As it pertains to my health, right? I begin to feel better. That's the first thing that happens. And the second thing that happens is that the chi, the life force, the energy in my body begins to flow up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And as I continue to open up my body, you know what I'm saying? As I continue to loosen up, I begin to notice that my level of energy, my level of vitality, my level of vibrancy begins to increase. And I've noticed that when I'm loose, when I'm flexible, I actually think a lot better, and I actually feel a lot better. And as a result, I've actually decided to incorporate this into my morning ritual, my morning success rituals. So ladies and gentlemen, I want you to take the conversation here that I'm sharing with you from the perspective of what does success look like for you? You know what I'm saying? What does success look like for you? I believe that for you to be successful in the world, number one, you gotta be successful inside. You gotta be successful when no one sees you. And success can be looked at in terms of your career, in terms of your finances, in terms of your relationships, in terms of your impact to society. You know what I'm saying? Just whatever way you define success, I want you to understand that success begins with you. Success is an inside job. And therefore, invest in the time, invest in the resources to make sure that your body, your mind, and your spirit are in alignment, will really, really position you well to live the life more abundant. So before I go on to the next step, I just want to summarize where we have been since I began this conversation. Number one was presence, taking time to stay connected to yourself by being quiet, by being silent, to feel your emotions, right? So that's number one. The second thing that I did was I came out, I drank my lemon water, and I spent some time with my goals and my plans for the day and for the week. And I think about the direction of my future. I think about where I'm going, and I'm drinking lemon water at that time, right? And the third thing that I introduced you to was, flexibility training, loosening up your body, loosening up the kinks in your body. And that's what I do in my living room right there. So the next part of a morning ritual that is very, very important is, I call this personal growth and development. So at times I incorporate it when I'm doing my stretching, or other times I will do it right after. So what do you mean by personal growth and development, Pedro? I mean that the thoughts that you hold in your head are 100% responsible for the results that you create in the external world, okay? Therefore, it is very, very important that you actually take control of the thoughts that are playing themselves out in your mind. And how do you take control of the thoughts that are playing themselves out in your mind? By inputting into your mind the right information, right? So myself, I engage in personal development reading. Right now I'm actually reading Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. I like The Law of Success. But when I'm reading Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill, I'm getting some valuable insights that really, really help me program my mind, condition my mind for success. Are you conditioning your mind for success? I condition my mind for success. So today I was doing some personal development reading, and I wrote down some notes. And here's an example of one thing that I wrote down. Pedro, analyze the temporary defeats that you're experiencing in your life, no matter what nature or cause, and extract from those temporary defeats the seed of an equivalent advantage, right? These are the things I'm putting into my mind. You know, recognize that your greatest asset is time, and the only thing that you have absolute control of. These are things that I read this morning. Pedro, be willing to render useful service equivalent to the value of the material things that you demand of life, and render the service fast. So I'm reading. And I'm not only reading, I'm playing on YouTube different personal growth and development information. So today I was learning about how to program your mind for success. It was something Anthony Robbins was teaching on. So very, very important component of your morning ritual is working on your mindset. You know what I'm saying? Personal growth and development. You want to work on your mindset because the thoughts that you think create a magnetic center of attraction, which means that you begin to attract out into the ether, into the atmosphere, into the air. You begin to attract out people, circumstances, and opportunities that are in alignment with the thoughts that you're actually holding in your head. Did you get what I said? Right? You want to make your mind a magnet of success. And that only happens if you engage in daily personal growth and what? Personal growth and development. If you don't engage in personal growth and development, you're going to become a puppet of the propaganda that is going on in the world. So what is the propaganda that is going on in the world? It is what you're listening to on your radio. It is what you're seeing on your TV. It is what is on the newspapers. You know, right now everybody is being programmed by the COVID epidemic. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't understand that ultimate health comes from within. People are paranoid about recession because of the COVID epidemic. People don't understand that their finances comes from the state of vibration from within. You know what I'm saying? Therefore, you want to make sure that you program yourself for success. So that's one thing that I'm doing in my morning success ritual. And the next part of my morning success ritual is something that's super, super important. It is nutrition. It is the food that you're eating. You know what I'm saying? Your body is a temple. Your body and your mind are actually tools that you have been gifted. And these are tools that you are to use to navigate this plane that we call Earth, right? So your mind is what you use to solve problems within the world, and your body is like your vehicle, you know, that moves you around. And therefore you want to make sure that that vehicle is in optimal condition. And how do you make that vehicle to be in optimal condition? You feed it well, you feed it fuel for life. So myself, there's a couple of things that I do. I always make a super food smoothie, right? A superfood smoothie. So I get water, I get almonds or cashew nuts that have been soaking overnight so that they sprout, and I make my own almond milk. You know what I'm saying? And once I've made my own almond milk, then I'll start putting in like some nutrients into my smoothie. I'm gonna put some of that coconut oil. I'm gonna put some of my my vegan protein powder. I'm gonna put some of my hemp, my chia, my maca, my cacao powder. You know, just superfoods, clean superfoods, right? My dates, and I let that go. I let that go, and that's what I put into my body. You know what I'm saying? So I'm having a nice superfood smoothie. I'm drinking my lemon water to cleanse out my system. I'm drinking a lot of teas. And what I'm doing, ladies and gentlemen, is very, very clear to understand is I am creating the environment of success. And that begins with what? The mind, like we talked about. You know, how you start in the morning, the thoughts that you're putting in your mind, the goals that you have, and the food that you're actually eating. And you can do this as short as you want, and you can do this as long as you want in terms of like the time, like the morning ritual. But for me, I actually devote about 2 hours to my morning ritual. 2 hours to my morning ritual, 2 to 3 hours. So I don't talk to anybody, I don't look at Facebook, I don't answer any phone messages, I don't answer any emails until I actually go through my morning ritual. So that takes me till about 10 a.m., 10:30 a.m. or 11 a.m. just depending on when I wake up. So for your life, you want to make it as long as you want to make it, or you want to make it as short as you want to make it. The most important thing is that you have a successful morning ritual. So let me see, is there anything else that I'm missing that I do? Anything else that I'm missing? After I finish eating, yeah, I think I got everything right there. So I start off with my mental and my emotional health by just spending time in quiet, connecting to my energy, connecting to my emotions. A long time ago, I used to do a lot of meditation. I used to meditate like crazy. But right now, I'm not in that meditation phase just due to certain things that are going on in my life. So I just exercise a high level of presence. So give yourself the gift of presence. That could be sitting down and just thinking, or it could be just meditating. And make sure that you are reading your affirmations. You know what I'm saying? You're writing down your affirmations, you're looking in the mirror and you're reading out your affirmations, because you want to program your mind for success. You want to be always thinking about where you're going. You want to be a non-drifter. You don't want to be a drifter, right? What was the next thing that we had after that? Sit down with your tea or with your lemon. I'm not saying coffee. I'm not saying Coca-Cola. Just sit down with a healthy drink and think about your day. You know what I'm saying? I don't care if you're an entrepreneur or if you have a job. Think about your day. Think about the things that you want to accomplish. Write them down in cue cards. And just think about where you're going today. Think about where you're going today. Think about where you're going over the next 7 days. Think about where you're going over the next The next 30 days, right? The next thing is that you want to move your body, right? You want to move your body. So for me, I do the stretching. I do like the flexibility, right? But you know what? Dancing is good too. Dancing is good too. So you can have some nice music going in the background. Just move your energy, move the chi. That's what they call it. Move the life force. If you woke up, especially in a shitty mood, that negative energy is like over here by your heart. You know what I'm saying? It's like an aura. But when you move your body, you kind of move that energy. So for me, it's flexibility, on the stretching. And then after that, I just engage in some very, very, very healthy eating. I have my superfood smoothie, I have my teas. And by that time, I'm actually ready to go. I'm ready to go out into the world and take numbers. And I have noticed for myself that if I give to myself in body, mind, and spirit, then I'm more happy, I'm more healthy, I'm more vibrant, I got the right mindset, you know what I'm saying? I'm more strong, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And from this perspective, when I go out into the world, I can actually pursue my goals with religious zest. So what is it for you? What is it that you're going to do to begin to just make some small fine-tunements in your morning routine? I wholeheartedly believe that if you make these fine-tunements in your morning routine, then whatever way success looks like for you, right, you're going to be able to level up. You're going to be able to take your game to the next level. And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. This is the first video from the Velvet Mastermind Club. Yes, I'm sharing this on my timeline. I want to encourage you to keep up with some of the work that I'm creating. I want you to go to the Velvet Mastermind Club and subscribe there, like there, because I'm going to be dropping a lot of information that will transform your life. I'm going to be bringing a few core people who have a desire to transform the world, and together we're going to create content and share this content with you. So my encouragement to you is to go back, watch the whole of this video, and take out 1 or 2 nuggets that you can immediately implement in your life and begin to get on the royal road towards your promised land of milk and honey. Adios, mi amigos. Adios, mi amigas.